What's up, guys? It's Meg, and it's that time of the week again where we get to talk about the latest Fear the Walking Dead episode. Today we're talking about episode 105 called Cobalt. What did you guys think of the episode last night? I absolutely loved it. I have maybe 2 complaints for the entire episode, but I really like this show. Let's talk about Daniel and his back history. We got a huge reveal today for Daniel because this whole time, we knew that there was this history to him, that he'd been through a lot. We got the sense that he'd been through the war, that he'd suffered, that he'd seen so much, and that he'd been hardened by the police and what the police had done. And we really got that sense that he wasn't trusting of the police. Come to find out that he was one of the enforcers, one of the bad guys per se, back in the war. So he knows what our police, what our government is doing because he was on that side of things back in El Salvador. So we see Ophelia at the fence and she lures this guy, this soldier that we've known that he, has a soft spot for her. She lures him back to Susan's house where Daniel is waiting, and Daniel is there and he tells Ophelia that he's going to make a trade, that he's just going to try and get information from him, and then he's going to, they're going to wait for the right time and trade him for her mother, for Nick, for Liza maybe, That's what he's telling her. She does not know what type of man he was back in El Salvador. She has no idea. She's completely unaware of what her father is capable of. And he sends her away, and we see, we hear him talking to the soldier, basically telling him that he didn't have a choice. He was either going to be the one with the blade or he was going to be the one receiving the torture. That there was no option for him, that he was taken there and he was given a choice and he did what he had to do to survive. It was this or be dead. And so it's amazing to kind of hear his backstory in this whole episode and realize that he hated the person that he was, but he did it then to survive. It had to be done then, and it had to be done now. I really liked the fact that now we see where he's coming from. We see why he is the way he is. Unfortunately, Madison falls asleep and she doesn't keep track of Ophelia. And all of a sudden she wakes up, she hears Ophelia screaming next door. She runs over and Ophelia has seen what her father is doing, is really distraught over it. I mean, she's never seen her father in this light before. And so it's a complete shock to her system. This changes her entire view of her father and the person she knows as her father. And Daniel is obviously very distressed over the fact that she witnessed that, because he did not ever want her to know what kind of person he was, what kind of person he still is, that his past haunts him every day. He says that he told her in detail about the violence, what was done, how they suffered. He says, I told her everything except which man was me. So basically this entire time, Ophelia has thought that they came to America to escape their past of, suffering and what was done to them and the violence that was done to them, when in fact, her own father was the one doing the violence. Obviously he never wanted her to know about that. And he says, do you think she will understand that it was necessary then to survive, that it is necessary again? And that was just so emotional for me, because you see this man that was forced into this life as a young person, and that is the only way that he knew. And then they came to America and they tried to get away from it. And we then hear Griselda at the end of the episode as she's dying, and the words she was speaking. Now, there has been quite a few people that I've seen that are trying to, they're like, oh, she's talking to death, she's talking to the devil. No, guys, she's talking to God. Now, in the very first episode, or the second episode, whenever we meet, I guess it's the second episode, when we meet the Salazars, and there's rioting outside, she has an altar. I don't know her faith. I don't know. I would assume that she's Catholic. The thing is that she's talking to God. Now, the words that she's saying, she's a very devout, religious person. Now that we know their past and what they've been through, and we hear this conversation that she's having to God. It is very obvious to me that she is talking to God. Now she says at the end, as she's dying, she says, I saw the devil's face. It's the same as yours. So obviously she's not talking to the devil or about the devil if she's saying his face is your face. So she says, I saw the devil's face. It's the same as yours. He showed me his face. It's yours. All those nights, my husband and I together waiting for them to break down the door. Them is all of the people that he tortured, all of the people that he killed, all of those faces that haunt him every day, that torture him every day. He never wanted to do those things, but he did them because it was necessary to survive. She says, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped the part where as soon as she starts talking, she says, I came to you as a girl, young and stupid. I promised myself to you because I was young and did not know your nature. Now she's talking about God. She's saying she was devoted to her religion as a young girl because she didn't know his nature, God's nature. Now, at this point, she's pretty much thinking that God has forsaken her. She is, because of everything she's seen, the infected, everything that's happening, she is blaming God for all of it. She's saying that he is the same as the devil. So she goes, I saw the devil's face. It's the same as yours. He showed me his face. It's yours. All those nights, my husband and I together waiting for them to break down the door. The faces of the disappeared, meaning the ones that were never seen from again, taken away on trucks, waiting to curse us with their torches, their ropes. I did what I did. I loved who I loved, meaning Daniel. She did what she did. She loved who she loved. She loved Daniel. She followed him, even though she knew he was doing things that were not okay in God's eyes. What did you want me to do? She says. So take my flesh piece by piece if that's my penance. Now again, this is religion, penance. You pay penance when you're asking for forgiveness. And I'm sure over all of the years, especially once they came to America, she asked for forgiveness over and over and over again for the wrongs that he did and for mercy on their family despite what Daniel did. And now as she's dying, she feels like she's been completely forsaken, that this is her punishment for living the life that she did, that this is her punishment, basically. She says, do it now. I will not ask you why. Now I know your nature and now you know mine. And then she died, and it was just so powerful. And if you remember that first time we met the family and the episode ended with her saying a prayer, and she had a rosary and she was saying her prayer, and then she blew out the candles, and it was just, that was such a powerful moment. And then for her to die as she's saying, I know your nature and now you know mine. It was just amazing, you know, like it was almost like they had both forsaken each other, you know, that I don't even know if I'm explaining it right. Does any of this make sense? Being religious myself, I'm not Catholic, but I can definitely relate to what she was saying, and the fact that bad things happen sometimes and you want to blame God for it. You think, how can I believe in God if all of these bad things are happening in the world? And I think that it's very hard to maintain faith when, you know, you're faced with this apocalypse and the dead are walking and you have no idea what's going on, you know, and you've devoted yourself to this religion your entire life only to have it forsake you. I mean, that's just my take on it. You guys can take whatever you want from it, but I really enjoyed that scene, and I'm very sad to see her go. I think it's going to be really sad for Daniel once he finds out. But I do want to move right along because this video is already getting pretty long. So at the hospital quarantine where Liza and the Dr. Edna, don't remember her name. I'm not going to try and remember her name, but the doctor and Liza are working there. And we see Douglas, I believe that's his name, and we see this sleazy, smooth talker, that guy that just like really knows how to get what he wants, and he wanted this Douglas out of there, and I don't know why, but he was picking on him and digging, and he knew exactly what to say to get Douglas to break down. And after Douglas gets taken away, we see him hone in on Nick, and Nick has something that this guy wants. And so later in the episode, we see these soldiers who are coming around and taking temperatures, and then we see them take the temperature of Nick. Nick has a fever, obviously, because he's in withdrawals right now and he's suffering and he's sick. And they go to take him away, and this guy, the smooth-talking guy, bribes. Now, he's already apparently bribed this particular soldier by giving him his watch for a key. Okay, so he bribes this soldier again by giving him his cufflinks. They looked like diamond cufflinks. I don't know what they were. They were shiny, obviously expensive. And he bribes him again for Nick's release. I'll take care of him. Let him stay with me. And the guard accepts. So he saves Nick, and Nick says, why'd you do that? You saved me, you know, basically. And he says, I didn't save you, I obligated you. Basically, I am going to need you for something in the future. And he shows him a key. So we know that he has a plan to escape. We also know that he is aware that the officers and the soldiers will be leaving soon. So I really like this guy. I hope he sticks around. I forgot. Okay, while we were talking about Griselda and her death scene, we got major news so Griselda dies, and Liza asks the doctor, what are you doing? And she starts talking about the turning times and how everyone turns. I mean, this is news that our characters didn't get until season 2, right? Am I correct in that? Those kind of blend together because I watched them all back to back on my computer, so I can't remember where one ended and one started. So the doctor tells Liza, time varies from person to person. We know that muscle impulse resumes after death. Any death. This is big news. We just need Liza to survive long enough to tell the rest of our group that everyone turns no matter what. Let's talk about Travis. I mean, this dude. I really liked Travis when I first met him in this series, and I enjoyed his character and kind of the relationship with Madison. And the world is so rapidly changing around him, and things are falling apart, and he is so unwilling to change his worldviews to fit what's going on, and he's so unwilling to change based on what's going around him. And in order to survive, you have to adapt to the situations around you, and the fact that, I mean, he can't even kill an infected person. Ugh. So first, let's talk about him and Moyers and going on this stupid ride along. So this whole time, Moyers is the commander of the whole army crew that is here guarding this safe zone, and this whole time they've been taking people away for even coming near the fence. They're not allowing anyone out. They've been very strict in enforcing this. And he's telling, as Travis is talking to him, he's pretty much telling him it's not his problem, he doesn't care. And then all of a sudden, he just changes his mind. And he's like, all right, let's go. And it's just like, come on. This guy is a hard ass. He doesn't give a shit. And we've seen that multiple times in this series so far. So for him to suddenly be like, all right, let's go, we'll break protocol. I mean, it just didn't seem realistic. And I don't know, I didn't like it. Travis didn't need to go on a ride along. It didn't make sense. And so basically they're on the ride along, and Moyers tries to force Travis to kill an infected person, and he cannot bring himself to do it. I mean, it's an easy shot. She's obviously infected, and yet he can't do it because he's still seeing her as a person. I've had no problem with Travis up until now, because this whole time I've just been, you know, rooting for him, saying, you know, it takes people a while to wrap their brain around what's going on, especially if they've never seen a zombie movie before. They have no idea what this is. So I'm trying to cut him some slack. But also, you know, this episode, I was just like, that's it, buddy. You're on my list. I don't like you. You're annoying me. So hopefully things change in this last episode. So he goes back home, and you would think that after witnessing and he's hearing while he's in the truck, he's hearing all of the screams and the infected snarls and the the gunshot sounds. You would think that he would start to understand the reality that these walkers, these infected, are violent and you have to kill them. And he's just, So he gets home, he sees Ophelia crying, he runs inside, and he's yelling at Madison, did you know what he was gonna do? Did you know? Tell me you didn't know. Like, she knew. What are you gonna do about it, buddy? He's just so unwilling to grasp the bigger picture here. Did he not realize that when he was on the rooftop, that was the military, the people he told about the survivors, killing the survivors? I'm just like, how is he so blinded to what is really going on? Apparently, the chatter over the radio that Daniel had been hearing was the term Cobalt, and the episode name was Cobalt, and we finally figure out what that is. And basically, the army guy says that Cobalt is the command code to initiate evac from the LA basin, but it's not to evacuate everyone, it's just to evacuate the military. Basically, this is like, we're done, we can't control it anymore, we have to get out and control the situation by humane termination of ... And he doesn't say exactly of what. Basically, this is humane termination of everyone that is still alive in these hospital quarantine areas. So what we saw back in season 1 of The Walking Dead, when they dropped the bombs on Atlanta and we saw the fire explosions, and then in the season where we see Beth at Grady Memorial, is that the name of the hospital? At Grady Memorial, talking to the doctor up on the rooftop, and we hear him explain how the evacuation notice came to the hospital and they were supposed to move all of the sick people, everyone, evacuate the hospital down to the park, the Central Park there. And from there, once these people were there, they were supposed to be evacuated on helicopters out of here, out of the city. Well, what we found out was that was not the case. They got them all into one spot so that they could drop napalm on them and hopefully try to contain this virus. But this is what Cobalt is. This is what is going to happen at 0900 the next morning. So now our group has to figure out what they're going to do. They know that Nick and Griselda, since they don't know she's dead, and Liza are all at these hospitals. And they know that the hospitals are this hospital, I say makeshift hospital, it's not a real hospital, is 2 miles away at this command post. So it's not that far. And at the end of this episode, so they have to figure out basically in this next episode, this finale, how they're going to get their people before this happens in the morning. I didn't touch on Alicia and Chris. Let me touch on that real fast. I thought their parts, it was funny, Alicia on the bicycle. I thought that was funny. I enjoyed it. Then we see Alicia and Chris trying on all these clothes in this rich person's house, and we have this awkward moment when Chris starts to walk up the stairs and sees Alicia in this pretty dress. My phone's ringing. Hold on. Oh, people calling me while I'm trying to make videos. Don't call me while I'm trying to make videos. Anyways, now I lost my train of thought, damn it. Oh, okay, so then they start smashing all this stuff in these people's house. They're not even like, I don't know. I don't really get why they wasted so much time showing us Chris and Alicia in this house. I guess the only thing I got from it was that maybe they were bonding a little bit, where when he tried to save her from Susan over the fence before, you know, she kind of elbowed him and was like, get away from me. They've never really gotten along. So maybe this is trying to show us how they're growing closer. And then at the end of the episode, we see it's dark, it's nighttime outside, and they see all of the Humvees and the military. They're just like streaming out of the place. And Alicia says something's wrong. And then immediately the scene... Hi guys, I am apparently incapable of making a short video. I was talking so fast in my review that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing good. This is like totally like less than 20 minutes. All of a sudden, my big camera is like card full. I have never, ever seen that camera say card full before. And I looked at it, and my review was like over 30 minutes and I wasn't even done yet. So I'm so frustrated because I was cut off so many times by the damn SD card being full that I'm over it. I really like this episode. I'm gonna go try and edit it down to be like a 10-minute video. We'll see. I talk a lot apparently, and I feel like all of it is important, so it's hard for me to edit out everything. And I'm not gonna put up a 30-minute video and expect you guys to try and watch it. So I'm gonna go edit that. I'm sorry for all the interruptions in this video. Thank you for watching with me, thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for understanding my need to go on and on and on about this show and about The Walking Dead, and understanding my obsession, because clearly I'm obsessed. You know what I did today? I forgot to pick up my kid from school because I was rewatching The Walking Dead and taking notes. Yes, I still picked her up. I was just slightly late, but I left the house way later than I should have because I was sitting on the couch writing notes for The Walking Dead for this video, and all of a sudden I was like, oh shoot, what time is it? And I had to like fly out the door. That should tell you my level of dedication to these videos and to the show. So I appreciate your willingness to bear with me and all of my blabbing. That's it. I hope you guys have a great day. I will see you tomorrow for my Dead Ahead predictions video for the season finale for Fear the Walking Dead. Pretty excited about that. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.